hello, everybody. This is once again your main host. This is Daniel Arsenault, and welcome back to Minds of Men podcast. I am so excited to be here again, guys. It's great to be with you guys. This is finally the number one, numero uno. I think that's how you say it in Spanish. This is the first real episode of Minds of Men podcast, and I couldn't think about a better way to jump things off, guys, with the one and only Mr. Coach James Bond. Give it up for him. I appreciate you being here, brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time. Appreciate us to be on here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing to see your face, man. I'm so used to seeing you at the dealerships and running around and training everybody and getting everybody acclimated, but man, it's a beautiful thing that we can come together on this platform and speak some life into these men, brother. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, they need it, man. They're hurting out here really bad, so they need it for sure. That's right.
Yeah, man, we all need it. Now I'm gonna tell you, y'all gonna have to excuse Mr. James Bond's little friend he got on his eye, if you want to kind of give him a little bit of a tad bit on what you got going on, so you don't
man.
think
That's why I'm glad we got people to pour into us, because my mentor lit into me pretty good.
Yeah.
So real quick, folks, I am a gym rat. I guess you call it a gym rat. I had to do it every day. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I got to get it in.
Yeah.
And so the other day I had an issue where I was in a sauna about 2 minutes too long, and the capillaries took their place. And so I had my first in a lifetime walked out of the sauna and blackout.
Oh man!
And woke up on top of my gym weights in my home. I built a home gym on top of my weights with a huge gash in my head down to the bone.
Jeez.
And bleeding everywhere. But God is good. So I was found by my spouse, by my wife, and took to the hospital. And 11 stitches later, I'm going to be good.
Man, well,
So
I'm
again,
glad.
don't be in the gym too long.
So you went in the sauna to lose weight, and you almost lost your life.
Exactly.
It took more than the weight, man. I'm glad we can find a little humor in there. But man, I'm glad you're all right, man, because that could have been bad.
Going out, yeah. I did waste an hour and a half, and then I do the sauna for about 30, 45, which is way too long. Disclaimer. Do 10 minutes like the regular folks. Don't do 45 like me.
You heard the man. Don't do the sauna for anything longer than what, Mr. Bond?
10 minutes.
10 minutes max. Minutes.
Yes.
Anything past 30, call 911, huh?
That's right. And I'm a 45 man, so.
I could have told you that was too long, brother.
That's right.
I could have told you that was too long. Well, man, I'm glad to know you're here. I'm glad to know you're all right. It could have ended up worse.
Sir. Yes, sir.
God kept you here for a reason. So, man, we're glad to have you. So I'm gonna just tell you, man, this is a very important topic. And this isn't just to you, James Bond. This is to all the viewers of Minds of Men podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time. Our first topic is all things mental health. All things mental health. Obviously, I don't want to make this podcast just about men. Obviously, the name of the podcast is Minds of Men. But this also for the ladies, too, to let you into another side of how men struggle, how we think, how we get frustrated, how we deal with depression, how we deal with anxiety. So this is a podcast to where ladies can listen into. So ladies, don't think we forgot about you. But my men especially, gentlemen, I know that how we are perceived to be and how we are expected to be is to be closed off, tough, introverted, not really outspoken about emotions, about feelings. Gentlemen, yes, I do understand that that's been forced on us from plenty of people, and sometimes our fathers, sometimes our life creates us to be that person. But guys, I can tell you there's no better way to be than to be vocal and to be honest with yourself. So, and I couldn't be more privileged to be able to spend this time with James Bond, because I feel like this is an important topic, man. I mean, to you, how important to you do you think mental health is, man? To you, what is that? How do you feel that's important to talk about?
Well, mental health is it's not a cliche to say, but it's life and death. You know, because the how we have in the world today is, like you said earlier, is that men are taught that we aren't to show emotion.
Yeah.
And that's old school conversation, you know, and it goes back to it's damaging, because we have to realize it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to cry and let it out.
Yeah.
But see, that's why it got to be important that your circle is the correct circle. And I have all my clients, they review your circle every 3 to 5 years. Literally,
Mm.
I make them sit down with a pen and pad, get your phone out, and I have them look at the first three people you call this past
Mm.
week
Mm.
and write down 5 things that that person said, each person said, that's grown you that week from a spiritual position, financial position, and a personal position.
Mm.
And the one benefit I have too is I'm also a certified mental health practitioner as well.
Yeah.
So I've done 70 hours of coursework. So again, something I
70 hours.
haven't just read in some book and thought about. It's
Right.
something that I'm studied and I'm learned on,
Mm.
because too many men out here, they're hurting, and when they tell somebody about it, they get laughed at. But
Yeah.
that's just the wrong person you told.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is that mental health is important. First thing we know that. And
yeah,
second of all, as men, it's important for us to be able to have the right people in our circle, if I'm understanding you correctly.
that's
So
correct. Yeah, that is correct.
how does having the right circle affect a man in a positive or negative way in your eyes?
Well, that's the biggest thing. That's why people, to all my clients, I make them, like I said, look at your circle every 3 to 5 years. What I mean by that
Mm.
is if your circle and you're number 10 in your circle, you're in the wrong circle.
Yeah.
If you're number 5 in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. You should strive to be number four in your circle, meaning that you can grow, that there's a trust chain in there as well too,
Yeah.
and there's some stretching as well. So that's why it's so important, because again, if
Wow.
one thing I heard years ago, which is so key, how you know who people are. We heard this saying years ago about Maya Angelou said, once somebody shows you who they are, you better believe them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you tell someone in your circle
Mm.
about your biggest success that week or that day,
Mm.
and they don't celebrate you, move on. Pack your
Mm.
bags and move on.
And get out of there. And get
Yeah,
out of
so that's all.
there. You
It's
go.
just
I
time to
can hear
move
you
on. You
now.
have to
I
make
can
sure
hear you now. It tapped out for a
you know
minute.
that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you
So
now.
so yeah, you have to move on. Okay, good. Yeah, you have to move on and know that it's just the wrong circle. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that person.
Yeah.
They're just not your person.
Right. Right. And see, man, I'm gonna just tell you, I agree with that 100% because now that I think about it, I benefit off of my circle. So, but I've
Yes,
also designed a circle that I know that will help me with more than one avenue in my life.
that's
So,
correct.
I don't have a circle that's going to aid for me to just be one kind of person, if that makes any sense.
That's correct.
I
That's
have a
correct.
circle that's going to hold me accountable if I'm wrong.
That's right.
I have a circle that I can call and say, "Hey, man, I'm struggling," and before they even speak,
Yes.
they listen.
Yes,
Before
that's
they
right.
tell you what the problem is, if you're the problem, if the other person's the problem, if you're right, if you're wrong, if your emotions are incorrect, they listen and they allow you to have an open avenue to speak.
That's correct.
Now I've been blessed enough to be in front of a lot of people, yourself included, to where
Yes.
I can call upon, a few different people and say, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
this is what's going on. This is what I'm
Yes.
struggling with." Not a lot of men have that ability to have that person that they
Yes.
can go to and use as an avenue of stress relief or mental
Yes.
stress relief or
Yes.
anxiety relief, depression relief, whatever it is. So, to the guys that are living a 9 to 5, living, being a father, being a husband, trying to be a father, trying to be a husband, trying to get a job, have a job and they hate it, whatever they're going through and they feel like they're hitting rock bottom and they don't have that person to speak to, how do you feel like they can find that person? Where do you think they could find that person at? What's a good avenue of how to network to find those people? How do you think men these days can find brothers, men, grown men that can maybe sit there and be that person that they can vomit on and give them some direction?
Well, that's a great question, Mr. Arson. A great question. Now, it's a couple things you can do with that. There's a lot of men groups, so to speak, on social media. You don't have to necessarily find a church,
Yeah.
because the issue that I have with some of those situations with unfortunately the way most, not all, let me be clear, but not all, but most of today's churches, they have gotten away from understanding how to grow, how to enrich men.
Yeah.
They've
There
got
you
into
go.
just a whole nother thing. Not all. I'm being clear, not all, but majority that I've come across.
Speak on
But
that.
there's a lot of men groups out there
I
that you
love
can
it.
just kind of join and I would say sit in the first 2 or 3 times just to kind of
Yeah.
get the lay of the land, sit in.
Yeah.
But I've been also just kind of watch and use your natural instinct.
Yeah.
Watch the room, see what's going on, who's
Yeah.
talking, who's over talking, who's under talking,
Mm-hmm.
because it all comes down to be there's so many groups out there
Mm-hmm.
that you can get that. And of course, you're more than welcome, of course, too, to reach out to me because I can give you an actual written plan
Yeah.
of how to find your tribe. Some people say tribe group because I'm telling you, I've been there and done that myself. I understand there's so many little things you can do to test the waters to different
Mm.
groups that you might want to visit.
Yeah.
But you have to have, like you said earlier, the one thing, but you gotta have the mentors specific for something. So I
Yeah.
say that I have a mentor I use for marriage. He's been married 79 years.
God, dog.
So I called him
Hey,
up,
fine, 79 years, man.
bruh. Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I don't know I'm making 79 years,
So I
bro.
called,
I ain't
so I
talking about
called
marriage,
him
I'm
up.
talking about life, man. 79.
That's right.
Good Lord.
That's
Talking about
right.
sauna.
So I can
God,
call him up and he can say, oh, you did, you wrong. He can say, pray about it. He can say, let me walk you through what I
man,
did.
79 years.
So
You know how much wisdom comes from a mind of 79 years? I'd listen to him
and
and I
that's
don't even know
yes.
it.
And
Yeah.
it's been times, man, where I flew up to see him and he sat there and says, sit in the chair over here. And we
Mm,
sat in that chair for about 20, 30 minutes, not saying a word. He looked at me and said, okay, you got it now. I'm like, I got what? You got what to do? You ain't say
mm.
nothing. He said, I said a
That's
lot.
the point.
I said a lot. So that's
That's
what,
the
and
point.
then I have my other mentor. He's multimillionaire because I want to know money conversation.
Mm,
Because one thing we can do is we can have a person telling us about finances if they're making $50,000 a year. If you try to make
right,
100, it just don't
right.
work. It's not a
Yeah.
mean statement. It
Yeah.
don't work
The blind
because
lead
you
the
don't
blind.
understand that. You don't understand the financial language I need to learn if you don't
Mm,
make more than me.
correct.
So you can't tell me how to swim if you ain't swimming the backstroke. You
Hmm.
can't tell me that. You can be nice.
Yeah.
You can be honest,
Yeah.
but honesty and nice don't mean anything. I need
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah.
I need. Tell me how to get. Show me where you went to get there.
Yeah.
Don't point and say, "Hey, the mall's over there." No, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Show me how to drive, what street to take, how
Yeah.
long it's going to take,
But
because you've been there.
everything you just said is it goes back to mentorship.
Yes,
Everything you said goes back to mentorship. And I want to go back to the first thing you said about men. Real quick, let me speak to the Minds of Men podcast group. Gentlemen, gentlemen, the coach has spoken. He said, if you're struggling mentally, you need to find small men's groups. It doesn't always have to be a church or whatever it is. It's easy to find them. If you have ways or you need a way to be able to find one, this is the guy right here you want to reach out to. I'll put his information at the end of the video so you can reach out to him, or you can reach out to us at minds of men inbox at gmail.com. But other than that, listen to me. There's a lot of gentlemen out there that are broken. And when I say broken, hear me out. You don't want to go to a group because you don't want people in your business. You don't want to expose who you are to people you don't know because you feel like that might show the real you. You feel like our group is just too much. Oh, I don't have to do all that. I'll be all right. Hey, man, stop. Okay. If
yes,
you at any point have a thought of, man, I can't take it. Man, this is too much. Man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Man, I need some direction. Man, I need someone here to give me direction on what's next, what to do. I'm making money. I don't know what to do with it. I don't have a father figure. I don't have a mentor. I don't have someone in my life to make me a better husband, to help me be a better father. If you think any of those things, maybe even 30% of the time, you need to find a small group.
yes,
And you have
yes,
to be open to conversation. I found the time that I really started to grow as a man and as a leader was whenever I became more open to constructive criticism from people that I respected.
that's
Now,
right.
hold on. Hear me out. You can't also walk around here just like James Bond said and taking advice from the blind. You got the blind leading the blind. You're trying to ask, how do I make more money? You're getting advice from somebody making 15 grand a year. You saying, how do I be a better father? And you got a guy that has 3 children. He ain't never took care of them. You know, you're asking, how do I be a better husband? And you getting advice from guys that's going to the club every Saturday and ain't never been married. It's a
Yeah.
waste of oxygen, fellas. Please
Yes.
choose your circle wisely. And mentorship is super important. I find that mentorship gave me a pay raise.
Yes.
I found that the correct mentorship made me a better father. I found that the correct mentorship made me a better husband. So, and we're all still working on each other. It's not like we're perfect, but men, I had to get that message out to you real quick. Do
Yes.
not let your bondage and do not let your baggage and do not let your generational curses.
Yes.
If you don't know what a generational curse is, man, let me introduce you. It's the stuff passed down from your family,
Yeah.
your mom, your dad, your uncle, your brothers, your cousins, all the stuff that your generational, everything that your family lineage has dealt with tries to come get passed down to you. It's on you to break that. It's
That's
on
right.
you to break that. Just know
That's
if you
right.
don't talk to anyone else, your family member that passed that down to you had the same problem. They didn't
Same
want to talk
problem.
to somebody else. They didn't
Same
want to be
problem.
vocal. They didn't want to say, hey, I'm hurting. Hey, I'm tore up. Don't be that guy. I
Yeah.
encourage you to find help. I encourage you to reach out. I encourage you to say, hey, man, I want to get better. I want to learn, and I need more mental clarity, and I need mental help. That's the whole point of
Yes.
this episode is
Exactly.
straight up mental health for men, man. You know,
That's
so
right.
James Bond for you, man. Yeah, you know, I'm curious to ask this. I know you said it's very important to you, and I actually wrote this question down, which I think is
Yeah.
beautiful. But have you ever battled with mental health?
Oh yeah, all the time. Because for me, I had to realize growing up in the Michigan, growing up in the Detroit area, it was a thing where I had to realize that generational curses
Mm,
that because my mom's side of the family were all gangsters. I had to realize, okay, and then my dad's side is all ministers. So that was a
mm,
interesting battle. So
mm,
so when I decided to be a gangster for about 6 years of my life through college and so forth,
mm,
I had to realize, why is it so easy to do this?
mm,
It's because that generational spirit,
mm,
that generational curse,
mm,
it knew my name. It's been
mm,
waiting on me to show up on this side.
mm,
So for me, and I'm sitting there thinking about the fact of when you sitting there, and my biggest thing is realize, wait a minute, I don't want to be alone. So I would go get another female and that's not to be alone sometime. And I
mm.
realized over the years, wait a minute, that's because when I was alone, I could hear I could hear those voices, I could hear that temptation was wearing me
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
So for me, that the emotion, the mental health part was like, let me go find somebody to tell me that first you're not crazy. Let me go tell somebody to find me that that's a real situation you're dealing with.
Mm,
Let me go find somebody to tell me this is how I dealt with that.
yeah.
Not read in some book at the moment, how I dealt with that personally. And this is how you understand who you are.
Mm.
Because the one thing that I had to realize, I wrote this down before you clients before. Know yourself but know your enemy better.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Know
and
yourself,
and
know your enemy better. And to some men, the enemy could be different.
that's right.
To
That's right.
some men, they could be their own enemy.
Yes, yes, and
To
that's what I
some men,
meant.
their mind could
Exactly.
be their own enemy. To some
That's
men,
right.
their family
That's right.
could be their own enemy. Ooh, that's a sense.
Yes, and that's what I do when I talk to men now or people. Period. Now, that's why I tell them when they first hire me, you may not like me for the first 30, 60 days because I have to introduce you to yourself,
Mm.
and that's the most painful introduction people have in their life.
The side that you've never met.
Yeah, that's because we don't want to do. We want to be who the world says we want to be. We want to be cool. We want to be tough. We want to
Mm.
be a killer. We want to be Mr. Rap, Mr. Thug. We want to be not realizing that that's the one biggest lie. The one thing that we've been lied to in society in general is that ladies want thugs.
Stop.
What ladies smell? What they smell? Because again, go back from whatever faith you are. You got to start in Genesis. What they do is they smell confidence.
Yeah.
The world labeled it gangster. They
Mm.
want confident men.
Confident. Correct.
But that's what we've been tricked. They don't no, that's what the world says.
Yeah.
Because a gangster has false confidence and it
Yeah.
smells.
Yeah.
Everything is done by smell, by rhythm. Body language is 91% of the conversation, which is scary. 91% of what we say is body language. Only 9% is verbal. That has been the same number since 1941,
I believe
research
that.
after research.
I believe
That's
that.
crazy.
I
That's
believe that.
insane.
And the
That's
only way
insane.
to learn how to become that man that you're speaking of,
Yeah,
it really goes back once again, and I hate to be redundant, but God dog, man, the importance of mentorship.
that's right. That's
I
right.
mean, man, because in order for I didn't really know what the saying was, command a room, until I figured out what mentorship was. I
Yes.
didn't know
Yes.
what playing politics and business was until I found out what mentorship was.
That's
I
right.
didn't know presentation is power until I found out what mentorship was. I
Yeah.
didn't know that whenever you point one finger at someone else, you got three of them pointing back at you until
That's right.
I found out what mentorship was. I
That's
never
right.
forget, man, one of my mentors, I was having some difficulties with a few different things, and he told me, he said, "Hey, man, I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna just be honest with you, and I'm gonna be honest with you because I love you. First of all,
Yeah.
they hear that, gentlemen. I'm gonna
That's
be
right.
honest with you because I love you.
That's right.
That's
That's
hard to
right.
find." And the
That's
second
right.
thing they hit me with, they said, "Hey, man, I hear everything you're saying, but the reality
Yeah.
of it is, man, you the problem.
Yeah.
You are the problem." And I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that. That's the brute realness of mentorship, is that men, we have to be prepared for an
Yes.
honest opinion. And you have to be able to be hard on yourself and be your own critic. You can't go into mentorship with a victim mentality.
That's right. That's right. That's
You
right.
can't go
That's right.
into mentorship with the mentality of I'm perfect. Because if you
Yeah.
go on with that mentality, it's gonna hurt your feelings quick.
That's
It's
right.
going to hurt your feelings quick. So, man, I'm
Quickly.
so glad that you brought that up. So mental health for me, man, has been. I didn't really get introduced to the importance of mental health until probably, I guess you could say, within the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
The last 4 or 5 years for me have brought me to a whole nother side of mental health,
Yes.
showed me how important it is, especially with managing people in the masses. When you
Yes.
manage a larger group of people and you have intimate conversations with gentlemen and ladies as well, but mostly gentlemen, you don't really realize how much hurt is out there, man.
That's right.
There's
That's
so much
right.
hurt.
That's
And
right.
I get these employees that send me emails and say, "Hey, I'd like to speak with you," and they come to the office and talk to me. And I keep an open door policy, and I speak to them. And it's just so much life you got to speak into men these days. And then you slow down
Yes.
and think about it, you like, Jesus Christ, man, all these
Yeah.
guys are hurting in private.
Yes. Yes.
They're
Exactly.
hurting in private. So we
Yeah.
have to stop that, and we got to change that. But man, I'm gonna just tell you, this whole entire thing balls back down to mentorship.
It does. It
It
really does.
genuinely
Yeah.
balls back down to mentorship. I had a quote I wrote down too, James.
Yes.
I had a quote I wrote down too. Listen to this one. Do not pray for an easy life, but pray for the strength to endure a difficult one.
That's right. That's it. Yeah. That's how you grow. That's how
Think
you grow.
about that,
And
man. Think about that. Don't
that's how
pray,
you grow.
God, make it easy. God, give me $1 million. Oh, God, please make my marriage perfect. It's
Yeah.
great to say prayers, but the reality of it is that you got
Yeah.
to go through it to get where you want to go.
That's the
You know,
key.
it's,
Yeah.
it's so many people that I talk to and say, "Hey, man, if you want to do X, Y, Z, you got to do ABC." And if that
Yeah.
ABC is too much to them, they bow out from it.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
right.
you want
That's
to have
right.
a good, clean mental health, you got to pray for the strength, because you're gonna need the strength, because it's gonna get a little tough. It's
Yeah.
going
And
to get
that's
tough.
and see, that's exactly what I was funny. I was telling this one of this professional NFL player that I coach, one of the coach that I coach, and I
Mhm.
told him this statement, and we went with it. We teach. I teached off this statement with him for about 3 months almost,
Mm.
because I can go take this apart. But it's just what I told him, because it's tough when you are a millionaire and you retired at 30 years old, because not by your choice, but because most careers in there is like 4 or 5 years. People don't realize that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I told him, I said, this is what he has to do from going forward. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend, but march swiftly to the place you are not expected.
Mm. Explain that.
And what you have to do is, the enemy doesn't want you to have peace, but you have to seek peace at all costs of human beings.
We need it.
In other words, if your group doesn't take time to hear you talk, you got to leave that group paying for it not. And for us, because we're emotional creatures, I've been knowing my man for 15, 20. It doesn't matter. If your man is not growing you, your boy is not growing you, stretching you in a positive way, you have to cut ties. You have to cold turkey, block, delete, move neighborhoods and everything else. And then the other side, that's part of that, is march swiftly to the place we not expected. The place not expected is waking up and having having an amazing morning conversation with yourself.
Mm,
If it rains today, I'm having a good day. If I step out of
mm,
bed and I slip, I'm having a good day. If I go
mm.
to my car, it won't start, I'm having a good day. I'm
Yeah,
walking, if you're married, going there and my kid's not feeling well, I'm having a good day because they're going to get better. If I'm sitting there and my wife mad about something, I'm going to hold her hand and talk to her and explain to her that didn't have intention to cause that, so I apologize for my delivery. I'm going to
yeah,
have a good day no matter what.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in other words, you have to run to peace and hold on to it like your life dependent because it does depend on it.
I love that. I love that.
So yeah, so and then
I
another thing
do.
I told him too is that you think because again the athlete conversation, you've been given that thing given to you since Pop Warner. So this is what I told him, this particular person, even the finest sword, even the finest sword plunged into salt water will eventually rust.
Mm,
So
mm,
your circle is going to elevate you or going to bring you down.
mm-hmm,
But the
mm.
choice is yours, not theirs.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So mentorship, man, I wrote a few different things down while you were talking. And guys, if you're listening, take your notes out, take a tablet out, use the notes on your phone. I'm about to give you 4 points. 4 points. Write them down. And I challenge you to hold yourself accountable.
Amen. That's
Accountability.
right.
Hold yourself accountable to
Yes.
these actions. Step number one, figure out who's in your circle, who matters, who needs to stay, who's helping you mentally, who's pushing you to be a better version of yourself, not the person that makes you feel okay with being ignorant,
Exactly.
not the
Different.
person that makes you feel okay with being subpar, not the person that makes you want to do things that you know are not conducive towards you getting better. If you got a friend that calls you every week in the middle of the week and talking about how y'all gonna go clubbing and partying on every single weekend, and that's the only thing they bring to the table, and that's the only time you guys mesh, and that's the only way you guys can click, you have to cut them off.
Yes.
You have to
Yes.
cut them off.
You got to.
There's nothing wrong with having a good time, but the reality of it is if you are already mentally stable and your mental is where you need it to be, then it's okay to be able to be in atmospheres or to be around people that you
Yes.
might be able to be around and they won't affect you mentally. But if you're not at that
Yes.
point yet, you got a clean slate. Clean
Yes.
slate. Circle, number one. Clean out who does not need to be there. And who
Yes.
does need to be there, call them and tell them thank you.
Yep.
Call them and tell them thank you. And it's time for y'all to start elevating each other.
That's
Second
right.
thing, find a small group. Find a small group. Find a men's small group. Find it. You got to find it, whether it's at a church, whether it's at a facility, whether it's online, whether it's the podcast, whether it's here, whether it's
Yeah.
with this gentleman, whether it's
Yeah.
with me. You have to find someone that you can unload on and get direction on what to do next. I'm not perfect. James Bond is not perfect, but we had to
Exactly.
go through it and we had to have enough confidence to be able to be here and reach out to you guys and say, hey, we don't have all the answers, but we might have some of them. And
Yes.
you never know, that one answer that I might have or that one answer that he might have might be the answer you need to get to the next step. So, number
Correct.
one, change your circle. Number two, find a small group. Number three, run towards mentorship, man. Embrace it.
Yes.
Embrace mentorship. Embrace it.
Yes.
Embrace it. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's alarming to find out who you truly are through someone else's
Yeah.
mouth. Because the
Yeah.
first thing I think is, man, you don't know me. You
Exactly.
don't know me. So how you gonna tell me what I've been through or how I think or how I feel and stuff that I dealt with? But you can't go into it with that mindset. You don't
That's
go
right.
into mentorship for somebody to figure out and just point out all the bad things. Sometimes you just need upliftment. Mentorship
Yeah.
isn't always negative. Sometimes mentorship is real. Sometimes it's positive. Sometimes emotional. Sometimes it's hilarious. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different things that we could talk about, but that's how important mentorship is. So to remember number three, run towards membership. And then number four, take action. Take action. You got to take action. What I hate, this is what I can't stand. I cannot stand when someone says, hey, I want to improve. Hey, I want to get better. What are the keys to improving this area? Hey, man, I'm struggling with this. And I take time to give them the solutions to that problem. And
Yeah.
they take all of my words and throw them away and don't do nothing with them.
That's right.
That is 100% a waste of your time and a
Yes.
waste of my time. That
Correct.
advice could be given to someone that where it doesn't fall on a deaf ear.
That's right.
Someone that's out there that really needs it. Don't
Yes.
lie to yourself. and
Yes.
don't lie to your mentors. Don't lie to your family. Be open with yourself. If you need the help, run towards it. But you have
That's
to
right.
take action. Take the steps that your mentor tells you to do, and do them. And do them.
Yes.
Take the
That's
steps they
right.
tell you to get better mental health wise, and do them. Take action, man. Take
Yeah.
action. James, what you think about that, man? Those four are solid.
Those actually were right on point, and they were in the correct
Good.
order.
Yeah, there we go.
Because people need to know when I tell couples, now I talk to couples when they get married, and I either wind up doing the officiating. I tell them first you got to do for yourself, and I'm giving you this clear order. First you got to do for yourself is if you go to a certain church, find a couple in your church been married forever, and they happy. The kids they
Yeah,
happy.
yeah,
Take them to lunch every 2 or 3 months
yeah. That's
take
true.
them to lunch 2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
Tell them what you're doing.
yeah,
Take a notebook. Take them to a
yeah.
fine restaurant
Uh-huh.
because they probably retired on their budget. So you get to
Yep,
bless them with a nice fancy meal.
yep,
But
yep.
tell them what you're doing. Take a notepad
And pick their
and tell them
brain.
how did you guys make 60, 50, 60 years?
Yeah,
Because guess what? They're going to tell you.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
will be glad to tell you.
Think about
Because you
that.
go now, there's books that they read. Books are fantastic. I'm a big reader. Fantastic. But the reason why I like talking to senior citizens is because they're a live book.
Mm,
They're a real book.
mm,
They can tell you how they emotionally felt. So yeah, but also too, again, just to make sure you really understand again yourself, mental health, everybody's dealing with something at some point in their life.
yeah.
Because I said this on one of my LinkedIn videos. The how it starts with is somebody lied to you at
Mm,
some point between your birth and now,
mm,
and you believed it.
mm.
So now they lied, you weren't good enough. So now you're 20 years old. Anybody criticize you, you fall apart.
Yeah,
That's mental
yeah.
health
Hmm.
because somebody lied to you. So I make my clients go back to that point where the first time you can recall, we take time to slow the process down. First time, one of my clients, I was 8 years old, and my uncle said, "You're never gonna be nothing." So I take them back mentally to 8 years old, and this is a deep process. I have him grab his 8-year-old hand from 8-year-old self and walk him into the current time, explaining to him that I apologize, that somebody lied to us.
Mm,
I'm here to tell you the truth that you are all you say you are. You are who God says you are, whatever faith you are. You are, who you're called to be. You're not nothing. You are not useless because somebody lied to you at some point, all of us.
mm,
And you believe that's mental health because that I had a young man again, this is another athlete. He's like, man, I'm right now, I don't know what to do. I never grew up with my dad, but now because now I'm 30 years old and now the noise stops. No
mm,
more fans yelling. No
mm.
more $1 million
Now
contract.
you
I'm a
got to
regular
sit in
person.
it.
Now I got to, yeah, now I got to sit in the fact I
Mm,
wake up and nobody cares if I wake up. I
mm,
said, first of all, let me explain something to you right now, young man. I care if you wake up. And I mean that. Now you have to realize how you feel. I want you, this point, to start thinking about speaking. How can I speak? I said, brother, let me explain something. I told this to many athletes before. And funny, they don't understand it until they're never like blown away when I said this. I'll just talk about NFL for now, but NFL, 1 in 5,000 make the NFL,
mm,
make a pro team.
mm,
1 in 5,000. So I said, brother, take your pen out. What's 4,999 times 11 years? He tied up, wow, that's how many folks you are better than. And they just, all of them, every time they're floored,
mm,
some get emotional, like, you are better than that many people for the last 10, 11 years. You
mm.
beat out that many
Yeah,
people because
yeah,
you
yeah.
because
You beat the odds.
he
Made it.
started. So then you beat out that many people. He's like, oh my God. And they're always blown away. So because somebody told you weren't going to be anything, you forgot about what you've done.
Mm,
Also, too, leadership. You had to read a playbook from 3 different teams, and the playbook is like a freaking dictionary.
mm,
So guess what? You are smart. You
mm.
learned a playbook.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, they don't understand what they think. I have a whatever all these degrees. You have the knowledge.
yeah,
So
yeah.
at this point, you have to trust you. And one thing you have to do with yourself. This is a statement here I put. Now use again. Subdue the enemy without fighting. And also, all warfare is based on deception.
Yeah, I like that one.
All of it. All
I
of
like
it.
that one.
All
All
of it based on deception.
warfare is based
It's
on
based
deception.
on deception.
It's lies.
All of it.
It's lies. It's lies that
All of it.
sometimes we believe the lies. And you know, a crazy part of it is, and another thing people don't really talk about is, and men hear me out on this, there's different versions of mental health.
Yes.
You want me to tell you what I classify as mental health? Someone that can't speak to people and let them know how they're feeling. That's a version of mental health.
That is. It
Some
is.
people that mask happiness and struggle silently. I've met some people that are super bubbly, super out, extroverted, very funny, very loud, outspoken, the life of the party, but in private, they're the ones that struggle the most.
That's right.
You know,
That's
so it's
right.
a
A lot of
mask
exactly.
mental health.
Exactly.
It's a mask. It's a
Exactly.
mask. And then you got some people that struggle verbally. Some
Yeah.
and excuse me, but what I'm trying to say is how you struggle verbally if you lash out quickly on people, if you have zero emotional control, if someone tells you the slightest thing that might somewhat be disrespectful and you take it over the board and you fly off the hinges and you're trying to fight, stab, kill, and destroy,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
version of mental health.
It
That's a
is.
version of mental health.
It
Just
is.
because you're not sitting in the corner saying, I don't want to live, does not mean you don't struggle with mental health.
That's right.
There's
That's
so
right.
many different versions of mental health. So, gentlemen, please hear me out on that. Do not think that this message is only for the people that are on the edge and want to jump off a bridge. It's for those people, but this is for all of them. Every version. I
Yeah.
struggle with a few different ways of
Of
mental
course.
health, you know, and I'm gonna
Of
just tell
course.
you, my job, my career has created me to be really callous to a lot of different things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I struggle with that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm very I'm trying to find the right way to put it, James, you old car guy. How you word it? Are you emotionally detached?
That's right. That's right.
I
That's right.
find myself being emotionally detached to things that I should be emotionally attached to.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
not like, oh, I don't care about the kids or I don't care about the wife, or but there's a lot of things about my career to where if you care too much, then it becomes
That's right.
mental wear on your brain,
And a
you know,
hindrance. Yeah.
and a
To your
hindrance,
sanity.
and it'll
Yeah. To
stop
your
you
sanity.
from, you know, from being sane.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
sometimes
That's
we
right.
carry that over to our personal life. And
Yes.
sometimes some things that we have to have sympathy about, we choose not to be that person. That's
Yeah.
a form of perfecting your mental health.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
form of
And
being a better version of yourself. And hey, man, I've become callous due to the job that I have.
that's
And
right.
it caused me to go into this mental state of being a certain type of human. I need to break that. I need to break
Yes.
that or perfect it and become a better version of myself. So I'm not talking
Yes.
to be on a high horse, but gentlemen, remember there's different versions, different variants of mental health. Don't think this is for the worst of the worst. This could be just for the small, most minor things. The
That's
small, most
right.
minor things. Mental health comes in plenty of different ways, and it'll sneak up on you, and you won't even know that that's what it is. You'll be like, "Oh shucks, that's a form of mental health." Yeah, it
That's
is.
right. That's
It
right.
is.
That's one thing everybody. But see, the thing everybody has to realize is that everybody in life is going to have a vice. You're going to
Yeah.
have a vice. But the key to life, the key to success for mental health is to choose your vice. Don't let your vice choose you.
Mm,
And choose a vice that's not gonna destroy you. My vice is the gym, and my vice has always been reading
mm,
lately. But before that, vice could be women,
mm.
vice could be smoking, vice could be drinking.
Yeah.
You're going to have a vice. Vice is going to have a vice
Mm,
because we have to have an outlet. So
yeah.
now I know, like when I hit, like acting on Sunday, when I called my mentor about my acting on Sunday in the gym with this big old scarf here, he said, "What you doing? What you doing? Well,
Mm,
you healthy. You have any kind of, you have no blood pressure, no diabetes. You healthy. What you doing? What are you doing it for? What are you doing it for? Okay." And he was like straight up. And I say that, let me caveat that. If your mentor doesn't have the authority to get in your face, he's not a mentor.
yeah, that's real. That's
They need
real.
to be able to tell you, you dead wrong or you right.
Yeah.
Because you can't grow with the mentor trying to make you feel warm and fuzzy.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's not what a real mentor is for. And I also want to say this too. This is what I was just telling the gentleman here that I became becoming his mentor now. One of my clients who's done, but I become first of all from his client to his mentor. I said, you got to know this. This is about life right here because family now is coming for more money because they still think that he's multi-millionaire. He's trying to make with his family, with his personal family. So this is what I told him: he who wins he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight.
Hmm.
I say that because you have to make sure you have to love. Sometimes you have to love people. I'm gonna get this. There's three people in your life.
Come on, get that to me. I know
Some
where you're going. Come on, let's go.
some you love from across the street.
Yeah, come on.
Some you love at arm's length,
Yeah.
and some you love cheek to cheek.
Huh.
Now you have to understand the ones across the street don't mean you don't love them no less.
Yeah.
You love them where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I said because there's a comrade, there's a constituent, and there's
Hmm.
a confidant. They're not the same people.
Yeah.
A comrade is who you may see every now and then. You may work with this person. That's a comrade. A constituent, you may talk to this person on the phone or text. You may, have a drink with this person or have dinner with this person every now and then. But a confidant is a person that knows things that will bury you, but you never worry about leaving their lips.
Mm,
That's a
mm,
confidant.
mm.
And at some point in your life, if you're married, your wife has to become your confidant.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
the only one necessarily, but has to become your confidant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very important to know that, people talk about this whole thug thing. And only can God can judge me. That what's true, whatever you believe in. But you have to stop worrying about what people think about you because people are always going to try to give you a name that you didn't choose.
Man, look, let me speak on that for a second. Before we end this podcast, man, I'm so glad you brought that up. People, just that, just that word in itself, man.
Yes,
People,
sir.
people, like they say in Louisiana, them people over there,
That's right.
those people,
Yeah.
man. I found, whoo, man, and this is something I had to let go.
Yeah.
Think about this. This is something I had to let go. I had to get to a point where I didn't care what people thought.
That's right. That's tough.
And it hindered my career for so long
Yes.
because I was trying to please everyone. You're trying to please family. You're trying to please friends. You're trying not to do this. I don't want to step out of my comfort zone because if I do this, I'm going to disappoint this one. Oh, I don't want to make this big move. I don't want to go there. This one's going to be disappointed. That one's going to think this. And then you try to teeter-totter and please people.
Yes.
Man, let me explain something to you. The more you run behind trying to please people, the less you'll be happy.
That's right.
And the less
That's
you're
right.
happy, the worse your mental health gets. And the
Yeah.
worse your mental health gets, the more help you need. And then when you're reaching out for help to the same people that you're trying to make happy, nobody
Thank
has
you.
an answer.
That's right.
None
That's
of them
right.
have an answer. You got all the opinions about how you want me to live my life, but you don't have any opinions about how to be better.
That's right.
So,
That's the
ladies,
thing.
gentlemen, families, brothers, sisters, husbands, dads, whatever it is that you are, do not allow people to dictate who you become,
That's
what
right.
you succeed in, whatever goal you have, push towards it and use
Yeah.
their negativity and their opinions as fuel to the fire. James said
Yeah.
it perfect. He said some people you got to you got to love from an arm's distance. That's a beautiful way to put it, man. That is a beautiful way to put it. Just because I'm not with you all the time, just
Yeah.
because I don't talk to you 24/7 does not mean that I don't love you. I love
Exactly.
you. I love you so much.
Exactly.
I pray for you. I love you. I talk about you. I love you. I love you more
That's
than
right.
you could think. I love you until my
That's
grave.
right. That's
But
right.
you have to have some type of boundary that you have to have with some people
Yes.
once they show you that they don't have the right intentions for you. Now,
Yes. Exactly.
hear me out clear on this. If you got an idea on something and someone that is claimed to be your mentor that you trust gives you an opinion on something and you don't agree with it, that doesn't mean cut off your mentor.
Exactly.
So hear me out on that. You got to be very
Exactly.
smart. It's called emotional control. Don't
Yes.
operate emotionally and be like, oh, well, that guy on YouTube and the guy on Facebook and Instagram that I seen on Minds of Men podcast told me that if somebody doesn't agree with what I'm trying to accomplish, cut them off. It's true, but then some of it, you got to be smart about it. Don't
That's
cut
right.
off the right ones that are telling you the truth that genuinely care about you.
That's right.
And just because you grew up with someone or you've been knowing someone for 20 years doesn't mean that they got the best interest for you.
Yeah,
That's one of
that's
the
right.
hardest things
That's
that you
right.
got to realize.
That's
When
right.
I started loving people from an arm's distance,
That's
my
right.
career shot up. When I
Shot
took
up.
the risk that people told me not to take risk on, my
That's
career
right.
shot up.
Shot
When
up.
I betted on myself instead of
Yeah.
betting on everybody else to get me where I
Yeah.
wanted to go, my career shot up.
That's
But
right.
always remember that did not happen until I got my mental health together.
That's right.
I
That's
had to
right.
get my mental health together. It's that important.
That's right.
Guys, it's that important. And, and
That's
and
right.
Minds of Men podcast, I challenge you guys to do that, man. Please, 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 please hear me out on that. This is an avenue and this is a platform where you can come and be real and be honest. We accept all comments. We accept all emails from you guys. Any information that you need, please reach out. Please reach out. We are an arm's length away. We are an email away from you having contact with real men, not
Yes.
not the fake kind that tell you one thing
Yes.
and then have ulterior motives. Real men that
That's
took
right.
time out of their day to breathe life into you. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of that.
Correct.
James, I don't want to cut you off. What else do you have for us, or are you all done for the night, sir?
I want to make one more statement here that I've been using this statement for, oh my God, I've been coaching now for 17 years. So I'm gonna use
Okay.
this statement here. I've been using for at least 14 years.
Mm,
In the midst of all chaos, there is opportunity.
mm,
In other words, you will know a few things in life. People make you mad, you figure out who they are.
mm,
People lie to you, you figure out who they are. Your business deal went bad, you figured out now you know how to look at business deals differently. Your business failed, now you know how to make another business work. So
mm.
don't ever think because there's chaos that it's the end of the world.
I
Chaos,
love that.
sometimes chaos is necessary.
Yeah.
Chaos is necessary because now you will get a chance to dig through the thickets. And it's so important to understand it. If leading with the last statement too as well. If you're talking to a friend of yours, when they call you up, they tell you all their problems, and you start on your problem, they gotta go because they're coming to you and
Cut them off.
they're dipping in your bucket with their
Yeah.
ladle, and
You
they're
gonna
not
dump all
pointing.
your problems on
They,
me, and I can't give you nothing?
yeah, they're not pointing thing to you. So
Come on, man.
that causes mental health because now you're stuck and beating your head against the wall with no outlet. Everybody needs an
Correct.
outlet.
Correct.
Outlets are
Everybody needs to,
necessary.
man, and I love that. I genuinely love that. I try to tell people this all the time, and hear me out on this. Pressure, pressure is a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Pressure
Yes,
is a
sir.
good thing. Pressure
Yeah.
is beautiful if you look at it
Yes.
the right way. So, gentlemen, hear me out on this. If I am going through a tough time at my job and everything's going wrong and I can't get anything right, look at that moment like that's an opportunity. Hey, hold on. I got to learn something here. What can I learn from this? Golly, man, my marriage is terrible. I don't know what I'm going to do to fix this marriage, man. God, I can't figure nothing out. It's time for you to learn something. What can you learn? How can you overcome and learn from it? Golly, man, I want to make more money in my job, but I can't seem to get a promotion. There's something there to learn. There's something there
Yes.
to learn. There's
Always.
no such thing as trouble lasting always.
That's correct. That's correct.
There's
Yeah.
a
So,
other
yeah.
side to struggle, man. There's a
Yeah.
other side to struggle. You struggle, but then there's a other side. But the key is
Yes.
you have to get the strength to get through to the other side. And that's
Yes.
what we're providing here, man. That's really
Yes.
what we're providing here. Well, look, I'm gonna
That's
tell
right.
you, man, this has been a powerful, powerful 48 minutes. I
Yes, sir.
genuinely pray and hope that every listener listen to this entire podcast, man. This has been strong. This has been beautiful for me. It's beautiful that you can get on a podcast with somebody that you trust and that you love, and you can even learn something while you teaching somebody else. I learned
Yes.
a lot. This brought me
Yes.
back to my core of mentorship. It
Yes.
brought me back to the importance of mentorship. How did I
Yeah.
feel when I was at my lowest?
That's right.
How did I feel whenever I woke up and looked at my phone and saw that nobody called, no one text, nobody
Yes.
asked if I'm okay, and I'm looking at everything that I got going on and I'm winning on paper.
Yeah.
I'm winning financially. I'm
That's
making
right.
more money than 10% of United States of America,
That's
but I'm
right.
empty.
That's
I'm
right.
empty.
That's
When I
right.
felt that in that moment, what did I do to overcome it? Mentorship,
Yes.
holding myself accountable, not having emotional control, being open to constructive criticism. Gentlemen,
Yes.
I challenge you, listen to this podcast. This isn't a sales tactic. This has nothing to do with money. This is straight people's lives. Gentlemen, Let's get better together. I'm going to
Yes.
put information at the end of this video about Mr. James Bond, of how you could reach him. He's a professional life coach. This gentleman has been through everything up and down. He can relate to you on all levels. Gentlemen, me as well. I'm not perfect. James is not perfect, but there's ways to reach us. Please reach out to us. I always have fun being with you guys on this podcast, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be here. I'm so glad. First episode, man, it hit home. It hit home for me.
Yes.
James, I appreciate you being here, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
I genuinely appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
It means
Appreciate
a
you.
lot for you being here, man. But hey, look, this is it for the night. Minds of Men podcast, the one and only. Just remember, winners win, losers lose. Which one are you? Guys, y'all have a great night. More blessings.